You're watching RTV News with me, Jane Motoni. The commander of the land forces in the Uganda People's Defense Forces, Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, has visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial located at Gisozi. This Tuesday, as Rwanda celebrates the World Consumer Rights Day, consumers know that technology significantly assists in their daily transactions. However, consumers are still concerned about the issues arising in the use of technology and also the rise of prices, which has been measured at 5.8%. On the international scenes, a World Bank study has found South Africa to be the most unequal country in the world, with women of color hit hardest by unemployment and gender-based violence, both made worse by the COVID-19 pandemic. Everyone, welcome to the news in details. As we begin this edition, let us inform you that earlier today, President Paul Kagame received General Muhoozi Kainerugaba at his farm, where he gifted him with Inyambo cows. The commander of the land forces in the Uganda People's Defense Forces, Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, has visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial located at Gisozi. General Kainerugaba also visited the Campaign Against Genocide Museum here in Kigali and the Kigali Arena. Take a look.
Muhoozi Kainerugaba was 15 years old when the RPF in Inkotanyi started their struggle to liberate Rwanda. And today he holds the rank of Lieutenant General and is the commander of the land forces in the Uganda People's Defense Forces, as well as the Ugandan Senior Presidential Advisor on Special Operations. On Tuesday, he visited the Campaign Against Genocide Museum here in Kigali, where he commended the courage of the soldiers of what used to be the Rwanda Patriotic Army, and thanked President Paul Kagame for the leadership that enabled Rwanda to rebuild herself as a country and become an African success story. Before visiting the museum, the general had also visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial located at Gisozi, where he paid his respects at the graves of the victims of the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi buried there. He commended Rwanda's government for establishing the memorial for the sake of future generations. Afterwards, Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba also took a tour of the Kigali Arena, being the first 10,000-seater arena in Kigali that serves as a multi-purpose facility, hosting indoor sporting events, concerts, corporate events, festivals, and more. This is the second visit of the Ugandan general, the first being in January, and on both occasions he has met and held discussions with His Excellency Paul Kagame, focusing on the bilateral relations that exist between Rwanda and Uganda.
The president of Rwanda has sent a message to his Burundian counterpart. A high-level delegation led by Rwanda's Minister of Defense delivered the message to His Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye. Both sides discussed on the bilateral relations that exist between the two countries that have been steadily improving after a falling out back in 2015. Recently, His Excellency Paul Kagame noted on the progress that has been achieved towards improving relations between both countries.
ubushize mwabonye ari abayobozi bacu bagiye bahura n'abayobozi b'u Burundi.
I believe that you saw that our leaders have been meeting Burundi's leaders at the border or in Burundi. Recently, Burundi's president sent a delegation to me bearing his message, all of which is working towards building up the bilateral relations between both countries. I can therefore say that this is commendable progress, and I believe that as time passes, the relations will continue improving, and Rwandans and Burundians will live together well as neighbors as they did in the past and should anyway. As for the security concerns that existed along the border, that I am sure you are aware of, in Kibira and Nyungwe, of armed individuals crossing from Kibira and attacking Rwanda and then disappearing back into the Kibira forest, we are progressively coming to an understanding with the Burundians on how we will deal with that problem so that it can be eliminated completely. Those responsible for that will endure many misfortunes.
This Tuesday, as Rwanda celebrates the World Consumer Rights Day, consumers know that technology significantly assists in their daily transactions. However, consumers are still concerned about the issues arising in the use of technology and also the rise in prices, which has been measured at 5.8%. Olive Neta reports.
Members of the general public appreciate the progress made in the use of technology in daily transactions. However, they also say that there are still a number of challenges that need to be addressed to provide better service delivery.
Ku bijyanye no kwibwa ntago abantu bakibwa amafaranga.
People are no longer facing theft cases. People are no longer going to the market with a big amount of money. There are different ways used, like using cards or phones to pay, whether with Momo Pay or other services.
Ariyo Momo Pay n'izindi service nk'izo ngizo.
Sometimes when you want to pay, you face connection problems for 30 minutes or even 35. You can't take your products without paying or receiving the receipt, and they cannot also give you the receipt without the confirmation that the money is already on their account. It is really frustrating and it wastes our time.
Damien Dize, the Executive Secretary of Rwanda Consumers' Rights Protection Organization, notes that the consumer needs to be aware of the changes at the market to avoid misconception and challenges they meet at the market.
There is a need to educate consumer before entering the product at the market. They have some features, digital financial services features. So consumer have to be aware of the new feature at the market. So there is somehow no knowledge at consumer side. So we need to educate consumer to be aware of product, smart product at the market.
Beatrice Umuchiza, the Director General of the Rwanda Inspectorate, Competition and Consumer Protection Authority, encourages consumers to use digital finance, as according to the National Strategy for Transformation by 2024, 100% of government services will be delivered online. She also notes that even though there are still challenges in the digital system, regulatory authorities are addressing the issue to protect the consumer.
A number of challenges that need to be addressed by regulatory authorities, such as strong network availability, cybersecurity crimes, e-commerce risks. Regulatory authorities are working together to establish a strong regulatory and legal framework in consumer protection and fair competition. In addition to the competition and consumer protection law, last year saw the Financial Service Consumer Protection Law enacted. Furthermore, numerous legal instruments have been enacted within the Ministry of ICT to make all digital finance transactions more cyber resilient and to protect consumer personal data.
So far, 20% of the population of Rwanda has knowledge about the usage of technology. Gerard Nsabimana, the Director of the Market Conduct Supervision Department at the National Bank of Rwanda, notes that consumers need to be empowered so that they can be protected from fraud activities.
So we are also urging financial service providers to be able to empower their consumers. So because digital financial services, they've got some tricks. For example, if you are not able to protect your PIN, someone else can take it and be able to steal your money. So as we are going digitally, we should be able to empower consumers so that they can be aware of their rights and of course the obligations, but again be able to protect them from fraud and other types of embezzlement. So today we have got cyber security whereby you've got phishing, hacking of the accounts. So it is the duty of the service providers and the government in general to be able to empower those consumers so that they cannot lose their money.
The Consumer Rights Day was celebrated for the 39th time worldwide with the theme of fair digital finance. Consumers in Rwanda are still concerned about the fluctuation in prices, which is currently at 5.8%. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thank you, Olive, for that report. Now, residents of Gashaki sector in Musanze district called on a group of parliamentarians that paid them a visit to advocate for them and provide them with basic infrastructure and projects to lift them out of poverty, and their sector is lagging behind in development. During the discussions with the people of Gashaki sector, they told the visiting delegates that they are unpleased with the lack of water infrastructure, the poor roads, and the lack of access to government programs to lift them out of poverty.
We are happy to have been visited by the parliamentarians, whom we elected and chose them as our advocates. Residents here are fetching water from lakes, yet it consists of waterborne diseases, and others are falling in the lake, so this is a problem.
A group of parliamentarians that paid a visit to Musanze district visited the Gashaki Health Center, in which a maternity ward is constructed there and is expected to be completed at a cost of 60 million Rwandan francs. They also visited the Nyadizi school that was destroyed by natural disasters. Delayed water pipeline constructions are being constructed by a Chinese company, as well as damaged roads in Gashaki. Residents of Gashaki sector have called on parliamentarians to advocate for their speedy development. Honorable Karimera Francis, who is leading the Chamber of Deputies visiting Musanze district, say they are ready to advocate for the interests of the people.
There is a water problem. They have 4 cells and none of them has sufficient water. Where infrastructure is being implemented, development is guaranteed. So as parliamentarians, it is our duty to advocate for them so that their problems can be solved.
The fact that Gashaki sector is the least developed in the 15 sectors of Musanze district, Honorable Karimera Francis say that they are going to advocate for the people to be able to access development projects. These visits by parliamentarians are aimed to check on the progress of development projects and activities that are relevant and beneficial to the people as planned in the national budget for 2021-2022 in order to prevent potential problems in the implementation of these projects by advising them and making corrections beforehand. Girls in primary and secondary schools have noted that the girls' room, known as Icyumba cy'umukobwa, facilitates students to maintain menstrual hygiene so as to not miss school, as well as accessing information on reproductive health. Ghislaine Mugwaneza reports.
Les Hirondelles de Don Bosco and Kinyinya Secondary School are among the schools that have girls' room. Female students in these schools have mentioned the positive impacts of having girls' room at school. Girls' room is so useful in the school. It was a tough challenge on my side where I could unexpectedly get my periods, and it would affect my studies because I had to ask for a permission to go home for hygiene and I would end up missing lessons. It is well now because we have sufficient materials.
nanjye ku giti cyanjye bigenda neza bitewe nuko ibikoresho bihagije birahari. The general life, the girls' room is so important at school because when a girl is at school and she's in her periods, she needs the room to change when there's a problem, and it helps the girl to sleep when she's not well and not miss class at a given time. And it helps the girl when she has a problem to tell, she must tell the direction to if she can use the room to wash her body.
Washing facilities, sanitary pads, and other needed materials during menstruation are found in the girls' room. According to school officials, the girls' room is not only for menstrual hygiene management, but also for reproduction health studies.
Muri rusange tugira amaklabu ajyanye no kureba ku buzima.
We have clubs that are for reproduction health teachings for both boys and girls, but especially for girls. There are those in charge of teaching and advise them. We also sometimes bring them together as girls to discuss about different matters. I can say that we should care for reproduction health so that we keep on fighting unplanned pregnancies. They also have less information. That is why we have one day in a month to discuss with girls about reproduction health, because many of them are in those ages and have so many questions, so we help them with answers. The organization I Matter initiative that aims to end period poverty and shame in schools through service, awareness and community has noted that girls are negatively affected by period poverty.
Young girls who drop off the school, it means they missed some of their classes, which in later years, which may reduce the capacity of learning and the capability to work as other young boys and girls who are capable to have those hygiene products. But also we have found that it's not also a lack of menstrual hygiene product, but also lack of information. What we do, we give them access to information about sexual reproductive health and menstrual hygiene product, because we were able to write the booklets of menstrual hygiene product. This booklet we give to the students so that they can read more information about menstrual hygiene product, but also information to sexual reproductive and health, which can help them to study well and know their body and make their own decision around their bodies.
Girls' request is to consider the affordability of sanitary pads and other needed materials during menstruation.
The Girls' Room was initiated by the Rwanda's Ministry of Education, and it has indeed made a positive impact in education for girls. Today, the initiative has reduced the number of girls who drop out of school or lose focus in their studies because of menstruation. Ghislaine Mugwaneza, RTV News.
Ghislaine, for that report. Now, a specific species of endangered bat, which has not been sighted for 40 years and found in the Nyungwe National Park of Rwanda back in 2019, has now been confirmed. CD Patel reports.
Hill's horseshoe bat has been rediscovered after 4 decades, which is a rare and elusive special mammal which is critically endangered on the red list of the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN. So far, it is not known anywhere else on the globe. Mr. Prates Niga Badanyungwe, park manager and CEO of Nyungwe Management Company NMC, where this company has been entrusted by Rwanda Development Board to completely manage Nyungwe National Park. He further notes the facts that how the ongoing study on the rediscovered species of bat has been taking place. The specific study has identified 10 species of bats in total. However, 54 species of bats are listed to exist in Rwanda according to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, Red List of Threatened Species version 2021-3.
We currently do not sell any activity related to bats as such. However, the new experience of forest night walks that will be launched in Nyungwe in the near future will give visitors chances to encounter several species of nocturnal wildlife, including the bats. However, we cannot assure tourists that they will certainly see this type of bat even when they do the night walks. The same as for other species of bats, they are mobile and active at night, and even when you see them passing or flying, it is hard to be able to identify them without catching them and observing them thoroughly.
Dr. Innocent Vizeyimana are conservationists and ecologists in Rwanda Wildlife Conservation Association, and a veterinarian talks about how this bat is different from other species of bats.
Most of these bats that are echolocating, they have the frequency at which they call. That is one distinctive feature. This specific species of bat is different from the other one. Metric measurements like forearm, the legs, the tail.
The management as well as the conservationists say that the bat will be kept in its natural habitat as it is a suitable environment condition for them that will allow them to thrive and reproduce.
We are trying to explore the entire park to see which other sites this bat species might be, and then from there we will publish the results to the management of Nyungwe National Park and the RDB Conservation Department to see that those specific areas can be protected even more. Rwanda Wildlife Conservation Association, we work closely with Rwanda Development Board and the facilitators like collaborating, bringing these other international partners to work together. They help us a lot. Without them, without the support from the government through various organs, we can't have this working.
The management requests the citizens and tourists to keep illegal mining, poaching, rash driving, illegal tree cutting, arson, and such various other illegal activities at bay. Siddhi Patel, RTV News.
Well, there you have it. On behalf of the entire news production team, thank you so much for your company. I'm Jane Mutoni. Bye for now.